Good afternoon, Toastmasters. Researchers typically debate about how much is said through nonverbal gestures, but most seem to agree that it's about better than half of our message. It's being communicated in the way that we use our gestures, our facial expressions, our eyes. Therefore, the public speaker, the challenge is to make sure that body language communicates and emphasizes those key points, whether it's through stance, movement, gestures, facial expressions, and eye contact. At the same time, these movements should appear and flow naturally. Our speaker today, Bethany Weems, will be putting this skill set to practice as she presents project number 5, Your Body Speaks, from Competent Communicator Manual. Today she'll be sharing a message of great interest to myself. I have 2 boys. Her topic is, or her title is, Hoarder's Guide to Dumping That Junk. Instead of 2 young boys running around my house, we have plenty of junk. Some that they bring in, some that just keep it around. So if you hear yourself saying those words, I'll need to get rid of that someday. As you go through your closets, you need to listen up. So please welcome rising star Bethany Weems.
Toastmasters. Last week, as many of you know, my brother came to town to visit. While he was here, he spent some time at our parents' house, notably in their garage, cleaning up, as he calls it, eons of detritus, or in layman's terms, years of crud. Apparently, there was a mound of rummage sale treasures in the middle of the garage, resting on the top of birdseed and other minutiae. In the past, I have cleaned out their mound of stuff in the garage and other parts of the house, and I've wondered, what is the difference between my parents and the people on the TV show Hoarders? Maybe you've seen the reality television program that showcases the fascinating lives of people whose inability to part with their belongings is so out of control that they're on the verge of personal crisis. Anyway, I don't actually think that my parents are true hoarders, and they're far from living in the unsafe, disgusting environments of hoarders. But I do wonder if my mom really needs a doll collection, a dolphin collection, a Beanie Baby collection, and a growing baby stuff collection. I'm worried that the garage has been used to store miscellaneous items longer than it has been used to store a vehicle. Today we'll talk about deciphering what makes a hoarder, some symptoms of hoarding, and discuss the methods of combating hoarding by eliminating useless stuff. As far as I can tell, the line is pretty fuzzy between the average person and small-time hoarders. There's a point when, like Edward Norton says in Fight Club, the stuff you own starts to own you. I'm sure all of you have felt disorganized at times. Perhaps you have even suffered from C, H, A, O, S. Can't have anyone over syndrome. The definition of a hoarder is someone who acquires a large number of possessions that appear to be useless and has a reluctance or inability to discard excess items, even if they are negatively affecting the intent of the space. About 3 to 4% of the population, or about 6 million people, have a hoarding problem, which isn't all that surprising when you consider that 1 out of every 10 Americans rents a storage unit. Nearly everyone knows someone who has hoarding tendencies. Perhaps you even display tendencies. I know I do sometimes. But how do you know when someone has crossed the line from casual collector to crazy compulsive hoarder? People hoard for the same reasons that everyone saves their stuff. Sentimental reasons, or to avoid being wasteful. Take joy, for example. A few weeks ago, she made sausage and biscuit gravy for the church. Unfortunately, the gravy turned into soup even after adding 2 cups of flour and 1 cup of cornstarch. Most people would have thrown it out, but not Joy. She ate that concoction for 4 days rather than waste it. So other people save for the fear that they might need it one day. Lots of people have a catch-all drawer, closet, or even an entire room dedicated for extra stuff. It's when it takes 2, 3, or 4 extra rooms that it starts to become a problem. If you use the phrases, "As soon as I clean this up, I'm going to," or explain, this is a project I'm working on," or say, "I am going to use that for something," you just might be a budding hoarder. Combating hoarding is a lifelong task. It is comparable to money management in that the more you think and hear about sound financial practices, the more it sticks in your mind and becomes reality. Likewise, the more you imagine how to organize and devise ways of accomplishing organization, the better you will get at it. We are interlinked with our environment in such a way that our rooms and homes look and feel inside. How we think and feel affects the way our home and looks. Both reinforce each other. You change one thing, and the other will change as a result. Even if you do not consciously pay attention or feel bothered by it, on a subconscious level, your mind is taking in stimuli of clutter, and clutter attracts clutter. One big thing that sticks out in my mind when I watch the show Hoarders is the lack of ownership that other people exhibit on the show. How come those other people are not doing more to change the situation? Sometimes the other people are living in the house, inching their way through stacks of garbage, complaining about how terrible the living conditions are. It's easy to walk into a room and say, "Wow, you are a hoarder," and walk back out. It's a lot harder to walk into a room, roll up your sleeves, and say, "We're going to tackle a little bit of this every time I come here." It is a constant process, and it is very important to remember that every little bit helps. Decluttering your home means purging junk that you don't need and keeping stuff in the right place. You have to let go of the things that you have no use for. A lot of clutter comes from keeping things that you think you'll use but never do in the end. So here are a few ideas for combating hoarding and tidying up your space. First, start with a small area. Break your house up into zones and work on each zone every week. You can try the 27 fling boogie, where you grab a garbage bag and you walk through your house and you grab 27 things and throw them in the garbage bag and then take it to the dumpster. You could try using a mantra like, box it up, carry it out, and if I haven't used it in 6 months, throw it out. Or you can hoard, as my coworker says he does. I do a lot of hoarding in my Emmons bin. My garbage bin. Yeah, that's a good one. You can also try to pretend to be your stuff and say, "Please release me, let me go. Goodbye, little buddy." Oh, I hope that wasn't anyone's bear. Just kidding, let it go. Let it go. Another trick is to try changing your verbiage so you say, "I get to organize today," instead of making it sound horrible and never ending, like, "I need to get organized." Sometimes it may seem like occasional decluttering sessions never last, and that after each session the clutter just piles back on. It's easy to feel overwhelmed by the clutter and want to give up, but giving up is the enemy. Don't sweat the small stuff, and there's always tomorrow. I'm certainly not the authority on decluttering, but the more I watch Hoarders, the more I want to throw away useless crap in my house. Maybe from thinking about Hoarders and organization ideas, you too will want to dump that junk and tame your trash.